There's a phone call in Breaking Bad that I've watched maybe 30 times. Not because I enjoy it, because I still can't decide what Walter White is actually doing in it. Is he protecting Skyler? Giving her an alibi by making her sound like a victim? Or is he finally saying everything he's wanted to say for years and just using the moment as cover? The writers never tell you. And I think that ambiguity is the whole point. This is the Ozymandias phone call, and it might be the most perfectly written scene in the entire show. A lot of you asked me in the last video to break down a specific scene. This is the one I kept putting off, because I wasn't sure I had the answer. I'm still not sure I do. But let's try. 1. Everything is already gone. To understand this call, you need to know exactly where Walter is when he makes it. This is episode 14, season 5, and the second to last episode of the entire show. Hank is dead. Walter's $80 million is buried in the desert, and he's not getting it back. His identity as Heisenberg is completely exposed. His wife knows, his son knows, everyone knows. He didn't just lose. He lost everything, all at once, in a single afternoon. And here's the detail that matters most. He's being driven away by Jack's gang when he picks up the phone. He has no leverage, no plan, no way out. This is a man with absolutely nothing left. So the question is, what do you do with a phone call when you have nothing left to lose? 2. The two readings. On the surface, the call is Walter at his absolute worst. He screams, he blames, he calls her stupid. He says she never believed in him, never supported him, that everything that fell apart is her fault. And your gut reaction, especially if you've turned on Walter by this point, is, there it is. The mask is finally off. This is who he always was underneath. But then, you catch one detail, and it changes everything. The police are already there, tracing the call in real time, and Walter knows that. Every single thing he says on that call paints Skyler as a victim. A wife who was manipulated, who knew nothing, who had no real choice. He's not just screaming at her, he's building her alibi, word by word, in real time. So now you have two completely different ways to watch the exact same scene. Reading 1. This is a sacrifice. Walter is spending the last thing he has left, his relationship with his wife, his dignity, his image as a good man, to protect her from prosecution. The cruelty is deliberate. It's a performance. He's doing it for her. Reading 2. Walter has been swallowing this resentment for years. Skyler questioned him, doubted him, fought him at every step. And now, with everything already gone, he finally gets to say it out loud. And the police on the line are just a convenient excuse to let it all out and still feel like the good guy. So which one is it? 3. The answer that makes it the best scene in the show. Bryan Cranston said in interviews that he played it as genuine rage that also happened to serve a purpose. Not one or the other. Both. Bleeding into each other until Walter himself couldn't separate them. And I think that's the entire point of Walter White as a character. Not just here, but across 5 seasons. He never does anything for one clean reason. There's always the stated reason. The real reason. And the reason he'll never admit, even to himself. He says he started cooking for his family, but he keeps going long after the money is enough. He says he's protecting Jesse, but he also needs Jesse to stay dependent on him. He says he had no choice, but he always had a choice, and he always chose power. The Ozymandias call is the same pattern, just compressed into 3 minutes with everything stripped away. He's protecting Skyler, and he's punishing her. And in that moment, he genuinely believes both things are true at the same time. That's not sloppy writing. That's the most honest thing the show ever did, because that's how people actually work. especially people who are very, very good at lying to themselves. But here's what makes the scene even more layered. Walter isn't the only one doing two things at once on that call. Watch Skyler. She picks up the phone and she's terrified. The police are already in her kitchen. Her husband is gone, her brother-in-law is dead, her life is over. And for the first 30 seconds of that call, she's just reacting. The fear is completely real. But then, something shifts. There's a moment. And if you watch her face carefully, you can see it. Where she understands what Walter is doing. Where the screaming stops being just an attack and starts being something else. He's giving her a way out. And she takes it. She doesn't fight back. She doesn't try to reason with him. She lets him paint her as the victim. Because on some level, in that moment, accepting that role is the only move she has left. So now the scene is even more complicated than it looked. Walter is protecting her and punishing her at the same time. And Skyler is accepting his protection while being destroyed by it. Also, at the same time. Two people. One phone call. Nobody fully in control. Nobody fully honest. And both of them doing the only thing they can think of to survive the next 5 minutes. That's not a villain monologue. That's a marriage ending in real time. 4. Why it's so uncomfortable to watch. Here's the part that no one really talks about. The reason this scene is so hard to sit with isn't just because it's brutal. It's because you understand it. You've spent 5 seasons inside Walter's head. You felt his humiliation. You felt his hunger to be seen as someone who matters. You felt the slow, creeping satisfaction when he finally got what he wanted. Even when what he wanted was wrong. And somewhere along the way, without fully realizing it, you started seeing his side. So when the call happens, and you catch yourself thinking, well, he is protecting her, that's not you being generous. That's the trap the show built over 5 years, specifically for you. Walter doesn't need to be right. He just needs you to understand why he thinks he is. And after 5 seasons, he's gotten very good at that. So have the writers. I've watched this call 30 times. And every single time, I end up in a different place. Sometimes I think he's saving her. Sometimes I think he's destroying her. Sometimes I think he genuinely doesn't know the difference anymore. That's the question I want to leave you with. Because I think your answer says more about how you watch this show than it does about Walter White. Drop it in the comments. I'll be reading everyone. And if you want more of these, one scene, broken down properly, subscribe. There's a lot more of this show left to talk about.